All right, everybody. Welcome to Lock Pod, Indiana's top-rated podcast.
I thought that was the first song. I got all mixed up.
No, it was not.
It's time.
What's up? Happy Election Day. Municipal Election Day in Indiana. I am normally stressed on this day.
Look at you.
But I
very
am
relaxed.
Cool as a freaking cucumber.
Very relaxed.
This is my first sip of coffee today.
Look at you.
Sucks. Freaking NIPSCO lost power last night.
Several hours.
Yeah, and then my coffee machine, like,
Oh, it didn't reset.
so
The
I
time
got up
reset.
this morning, and I, like, dumped my coffee in there, and I was just sitting there, and then I took a big sip of
And
it.
it said
was
it said like 1 a.m. or something.
it was like cold, nasty coffee because it wasn't heated.
First
So I had to wait for
world problems.
Lockpod coffee.
How is it?
Fucking Lockpod coffee sucks.
Well, not only that, I mean,
It's
Joe
like-
wasn't
it's
here.
like mud.
or Lindsay wasn't here to make it for you. I had to make it, so it's probably even worse.
Dude, I don't require people to make my coffee. Like,
I understand that.
make
You
it
walked
sound
in
like
there.
I'm incompetent.
Well, no, but you walk in
He's
usually.
well, Jill or Lindsay wasn't here, so I had to make your coffee.
Well,
what
no,
a freaking tyrant.
What I was saying was, you usually
you massage my shoulders?
traditionally,
I'm a little tight.
Traditionally, you walk in like right before, so you don't have time to make your coffee. So whoever's here makes it for you,
Thank you.
and me.
So,
Yeah.
speaking
is
of
nice.
first world problems,
got-
I lost power too, Tom.
Yeah, did your coffee machine reset?
No, worse.
What?
I'm walking down I'm coming here this morning, and you can see over the fence, like when you're walking down my stairs, the hot tub. The display
Your hot
showed the
tub?
temperature of like 75 degrees.
Oh, that's too cold for you to go in.
dude.
Oh,
So
you were
when
going to the hot tub this
At
morning?
6 a.m.?
no.
I was like,
John's
what
morning
the hell?
hot
Like,
tub.
what kind of pimp are you?
when
Before you go to work.
when the power shut off and then it came back on, it didn't turn the hot tub back on.
Yeah.
like,
So
the
you had to
water was
manually
just-
do it.
No, I mean I pressed the button to turn it on
No,
Hold
to
on.
start warming it up again.
When was this? Last night?
this morning.
morning.
I noticed that the
Oh,
hot tub
gotcha.
did not,
All
the
right.
warmer did not turn.
You
back
weren't
on.
going in there, though.
It's on the wrong timer.
Oh no, I went in for a dip. Still,
No, you John,
No, I did
John's
not.
morning hot tub.
Do you do hot tub in the morning?
no.
Yeah.
Usually at night after dark. If you know what I mean.
Before I ever got in your hot tub, I'd have to do a black light over the whole thing.
I wouldn't do that.
I have the cleanest hot tub water.
I bet.
In
I
the
believe
county.
that. I
In
believe
the
that.
It
county?
is
The
perfectly
cleanest in the
balanced,
county?
24/7.
Really?
Yes,
All
I don't
right.
mess around.
Except
check
last
it out.
night when the power went out. It's like all acidic now.
Yeah, but we lost power for several hours around Purdue,
Yeah. Freaking NIPSCO.
I didn't have
and
that
they want to
power.
raise our rates 10%. We can't even get
I'm not
regular
going
power.
there. Rick is
Okay.
good to us. Rick is good to us.
I did
But
not
we
lose
were just
power.
talking
Thank
about
you, Rick, for keeping my lights on.
2/3 of this studio texted Rick last night. So just think of
I did
multiply
too.
this by thousands.
Yes.
Right? So think about Rick every day. There's a
I
power
know.
outage. He gets
Ugh.
thousands of text messages. You know.
Poor guy.
I try not to, but like I was like, dude, there's not. It's like there's no wind, there's no snow.
Exactly.
It's like
What
what
was
the
the
hell?
issue? What
We were
was
out
the-
for like 4 hours. I have no idea.
Yeah.
We were just out. It was
Yeah,
bullshit.
it's crazy.
Yeah. So anyway,
It's back on.
Hey, it's election day. Share this stream, man. We'll keep you company.
6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Polls are open. As the mayor pointed out, and I'll let him talk about why, but municipal elections are important.
Yes, they are. All right, let's keep going.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding.
I thought you did.
No, seriously, share our damn stream, and we'll keep you company. And I agree with Kevin. Municipal elections are important because just about every municipal. Let me start over again.
Yes.
Just
Take
about
two.
every major decision that affects you and affects you in important ways is done at the local level. And most people tune that phase of government out and they pay attention to the presidency,
Which you
and
have very
Congress,
little.
which quite frankly doesn't really. That's like the gross adjustments. The fine tune adjustments take place right in your hometown.
Totally
you know?
agree.
So
The
like,
things that affect you most are the ones that are made by your local elected officials.
right, like you're in Hammond. The Hammond Council has done a great job. Like I got a couple people trying to screw it up, and think about this. Most people enjoy what I've done as mayor, which is why I'm uncontested for my 6th term, right? The only reason I'm uncontested is because I have a great council that's working with me, and I have a council that's under attack right now. And if we drop the ball today, we're going to let an a-hole like, the former councilman is running right now get on there, and he's been known to get on there and just be an asshole. He's not going in there with good intentions. He's going to go in there to screw things up and to freaking yell at people and to falsely accuse them. He's just a jerk like
just
that.
to give you
Why are we like even contemplating this,
Just to give you a frame of reference, I was up really early this morning. I've already been down to Crown Point at the election board and, opened up election day down there. The first complaint we received,
Bob Markovich.
That's
who I was talking about.
What was
complaint.
it?
He
What
was without permission inside the teacher's lounge at a poll.
Dude,
the complaint was against him.
Yes.
Okay.
He's honestly, do me a favor, Hammond. Don't vote for Bob Markovich today. Do me a favor. I mean, honestly, this guy has no good intentions. He has no good intentions at all. Like, I had a lady that's a judge working for me. I'm not going to mention her name, okay? But this lady worked for me for, Kevin, 10 years? Mm-hmm. Bob Markovich made it his goal to drive her out of government because he didn't like her mother-in-law, okay? So every council meeting, he would bring her name up. Every council meeting, he'd pull her claims, which means she can't get paid. Every council meeting, he made it his mission to drive her out of government, not because of the job she did, because Bob didn't like her mom, okay? And he did. He was successful. She quit. She's like, dude, I can't handle this. Because she's not a public person. She just wants to, she worked in a legal aid clinic. And she's a lawyer. And she went to Valparaiso Law School. And by the way, she's a judge now. So she's a pretty smart lawyer and did a pretty good job. Bob Markovich made it his mission to drive her out of government. And she left. Is that good for Hammond? No. And by the way, she's been hugely successful in her career. She's gone off. She had her own law firm. She got picked to be a judge. She's a magistrate judge in a family court right now and kicking ass. But she was working for free for Hammond residents, and Bob Markovich terrorized her so much she quit. That's who, and now he's running again. We finally beat the guy 4 years ago, and now he's running again. And he has no good intention.
My biggest criticism, I think, of him as councilman was it was always against something, never bringing ideas and forward thinking to the city. Never had, hey, I want to improve this. Hey, I want to make this better.
He couldn't. He didn't have the votes.
It was all criticism. And I think that's, for a place like Hammond or any city or any municipality, any town council, you want to have people there that are there to make the city or town better. And I just never felt that was his intention. It was always like, how can I criticize what the mayor's doing? How can I criticize what the councilman or another councilwoman is doing? It was never on the positive side. And Kevin, I just don't like to get around folks like that.
But we don't want, we're not asking for yes men either. But
no. I want idea people. I want people that are bringing things to the table. Hey, Mayor, let's do this. Have we thought about this?
Exactly.
I mean, that's what I like.
Yeah.
That gets ideas going. That moves the city forward. That keeps the city on top of, on the forefront of things, which, generally, I would say under your administration over the last 20 years, that's what happens. I mean, we wouldn't have green space at Wolf Lake if it wasn't for Tom McDermott. And I mean that sincerely. I mean, I remember you standing at the Lost Marsh and saying, we will make this across the street a park and green space. And it happened. But I mean, that's just one example.
But the thing about Bob, though, I mean, he's running today, by the way. And quite frankly, a lot of people think he's going to win, and he'll be one of my bosses. And I'm going to tell you, he's going to go after things in government, not because it's good government, because he's a jerk. He's jealous of somebody that's got a good job. He wants to drive somebody out of government because somebody's parent 20 years ago slighted him. That's the kind of guy we're talking about. And Hammond Council has done a good job over the last 4 years. And what happens in local elections is people don't pay attention because they're like, oh, Mayor Tom's not running, so I'm not going to vote, right? And then you drop the ball as a voter because a guy like Bob Markovich will sneak in today, if he does sneak in, and he'll freaking ruin all the chemistry we have because he's an asshole. He'll go on there and be an asshole because that's what he does. And I'm not trying to – this guy, I've been nice to him for the last 4 years. You know why, Kevin? Because he's a private citizen now, right? I could be nice to a private citizen. But, Bob, you're trying to run for council again? You were a fucking horrible councilman, and you don't deserve to be reelected. And if he gets on there, ladies and gentlemen, he will screw up the good chemistry we have on that council. And he'll be on my ass for 4 years, which is fine, especially because I'm talking like I am right now.
Well, and you were used to it for
I will. I mean,
16 years.
I'll write one vote off. He'll never vote for anything I have, even the good ideas, the bad ideas, nothing. He'll be against me on everything. But I just want the voters to know this guy's running today, and he's no good. He's freaking no good. And if you don't trust me, then why the hell am I running for a sixth term? Why the hell am I running uncontested? You trust me because that's why I'm running uncontested. And I'm telling you, I worked with this guy for 20 years. I know him. And he's no good on the council. He'll be no good on the council today. And by the way, we're going to have a guest later on. Ask the guest if they agree with me.
The other thing I was going to mention, and it's indicative of, this goes out to Hammond voters to make sure to get out and vote, because I think most of them don't feel like there's an important race, and they're not voting. I can just tell you by early vote numbers that have been in out of Gary voters and East Chicago numbers, or East Chicago voters where there are mayoral races. Gary has 2,800 early votes. East Chicago has 1,900. City Hammond at 800.
Yeah, it makes sense. So,
right, because there's people don't perceive there to be a mayoral race and so it's important for Hammond voters, if you're listening, get out and vote.
Yep,
6 to 6. By the way, if you're curious about where your poll is or you don't know, go to indianavoters.com and it'll tell you.
Yeah. Am I going over the top, John? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you're jumping right into it. Jumping right into the show. It's exciting.
Okay, that's a no, that's a non-answer.
That was a yes.
That's a non-answer. But hey, whatever.
Well,
Because John doesn't want to be that target. Like, think about it. John's an employee of the city. He works in IT. He's a high-paid IT employee because he's trained and skilled, right? But what I'm saying is, if Markovich would get in there, he'd be like, guy like John, I'm going to pull John's claims every 2 weeks. How, you know what kind of effect that has on people? You don't get paid.
I'm going to subpoena the IT department.
I'm going to freaking terrorize it. I want to pull John's claims. Every time John walks to City Hall, I want a picture of it. Like, just crazy stuff like that. Not because it's good government, because 20 years ago, somebody slighted Markovich and it had, somebody in the Vesmar family. That's the kind of stuff we're talking about. That's the kind of stuff he did for years, and he's trying to get back on again. And I'm hoping and praying that doesn't happen. I really am.
Speaking about Markovich, we did not see him at the Whiting-Robertsdale Chamber of Commerce
Why not?
event.
He tried to get in.
Apparently, he made according to some, he made a scene at the Whiting-Robertsdale.
According to the president of the
chamber.
Wait, he didn't get in? What do you mean?
He's famous for showing up to things and not paying. He's famous for it. Okay, and this is an event. I think it was $150 a ticket or something like that.
I don't even know. Yeah,
I bought it from the city. I had a table because I support the organization. We had a cable. Kevin and Jana were there. Marissa and I were there.
There was a award to the fire chief.
Yeah,
Congrats
the fire chief. So fire chief was there with his girlfriend Martina, and then the Taylons were there.
Phil and Kelly.
Right, and who else was there?
Bernie and Nadia and
Dan
Danny
Misiak
Misiak and
Mallory.
Mallory.
Right. So we were all there, and Markovich tried to make it in. This is like turned into Markovich morning, but he tried to get in, and he didn't have a ticket. But these are events where it's hard to like control who comes in and goes out because it's literally like 400 people get there all at once, sort of like the honor system, right? Like, because you can go to the bathroom, walk out of the bathroom, walk right into the event. Nobody's going to catch you, right? So I think that's sort of what he was trying to do is like just sort of like walk into the event, have a couple drinks for free, and then when everybody goes to sit down, he bails out and he doesn't have to pay a penny and he gets everything for free, right? Well, it didn't work out for him that way because he comes walking in and waiting for him was the president of the Whiting-Robertsdale Chamber of Commerce, and they're like, "You don't have a ticket here. What are you doing here?" And he's like, "No, I'm with so-and-so." And they're like, "No, you're not. That table's full."
Wow.
He tried to get in, and then they kicked him out. And then, like, he started getting ornery about it. And then they were like, "Hey, listen, there's a lot of cops here. We could do this the official way if you want." And he left.
Whoa.
And that was Friday before Election Day on Tuesday. Wouldn't that have been great?
Yikes.
Like, getting arrested, like, right before.
Yikes.
Yeah, so that happens. And then we go in, and everybody was talking about it when we got into the event. And then,
well, I mean, you had a good event.
Yeah.
This is such a good story.
I was showing off. Because I was in mayor mode. I was in mayor mode, like mayor. Like I'm a different person when I'm mayor. Kevin, is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, when you're in your official capacity, I think you obviously
I have like different like characteristics.
Sure,
almost like when I'm Tom and you and I are just hanging, or the three
here,
of us go to a baseball game. Well, like Lockpot, I'm sort of the same person.
Yeah, much more.
But like when you and I go to a baseball game or something, am I like making a mockery, or like screaming out loud and stuff? No, I'm like low key, right?
Yes.
So, but I was being the mayor at that table.
You were, well, like, let's
like
set it up. So you were, well, I think what you were doing was just you wanted to make sure people were, number one, having a good time. Number two, making sure that you were supporting the chamber.
Right.
And it's set up where the tables are, so Whiting-Robertsdale always has the Whiting mayor and the Hammond mayor up front and their tables. So our tables were way up front near the dais and where all the action was taking place. So one of the things they do there is they do a open outcry auction, live auction. And the Mayor Tom being, Mayor Tom, and he'd already given his remarks, by the way. So he'd given his remarks, thanked Mayor Spebar, was very gracious to the host, the usual, right? And then it was...
Because this is mostly a chamber of commerce for another city.
Absolutely.
I mean, it has a small sliver of our city in it, but quite frankly, it's another city's chamber of commerce. So we're guests, totally.
In a way, yeah.
The Mayor Steve is the mayor of that room. Even though it was in Hammond, it was a Whiting event.
Sure. Okay. Overall, it's a Whiting event, right? And so live auction starts. And this is great.
And I'm showing off.
Absolutely.
I'm like in loud mode at the table.
Without
I'm
a
like
doubt.
entertaining, making jokes.
Right.
And then I'm telling everybody I got a surefire way to like be a big shot and not have to buy anything.
And that is?
To be the first one to bid, right?
On the first item.
When they come out, you just bid first. And then everybody overbids you, right?
Sure.
Yeah,
That's
so
how
I'm
an
like,
auction's
yeah.
supposed to
and
work.
then everybody looks at you, and you're like, and I was saying, do it on every one.
Mm-hmm.
Always be like the first bidder and then bail out.
Well, because
right?
then you're like, thank you, Mayor, for
You're in
getting
the
the
mix.
things going.
You're in the mix,
That's
right? Everybody's like, damn, what did you end up getting tonight? You're like, nothing, right? Because I'm the first
But
bidder.
man, I heard you bidding on everything.
That's right. You're in the mix, right? So that's my whole thing. Everybody's like, okay, are you going to do it? I'm like, yeah. So the first bid goes up.
He doesn't notice what the item is.
I don't even know what I'm bidding
Right.
on.
And
they're just like, boom, boom, boom. It's open. And any bids, and I hold my card
well,
up.
no, what you said was, they said the value of this item is $300, and Tom said, hey, what's the opening bidder? And they said 300, thinking that he said, what's the value of the item?
Right.
And what does Tom do?
So I hold up my card. I don't know you have to yell out anything. Everybody laughs because I hold up my card, and I'm like, the first one, like really inappropriately early.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, what's the bid? And I'm like, the only number in my head is I heard $300, right? So I go, $300. And the whole room just starts laughing at me. And I'm like, what did I just bid on? And they're like, 25 Oilman tickets and a bunch of kid T-shirts.
Right. And some hats.
And a hat. And I'm like,
Several
oh, shit.
hats.
I'm like, okay, somebody overbid me. And they're like, no.
Any other bids? Are there any other bids? So
it's $300. I bid the full price.
If you're reading the room, also, I think it's one of those things where people are like, oh, God, I don't want to outbid Mayor Tom. It'll make me look like I'm trying to, I don't like him or I'm screwing with him. So they're
Plus,
like,
I
any
bid
other
full
bids?
price.
You did bid full price. So
I just really like the Oilman and kid T-shirts.
Is this
going once, going twice, sold to Mayor Tom. And here is the photo. As you can see on his face.
They bring a big ass, like now I'm in an event with 400 people and I got the hugest freaking like picnic basket.
I love the
you've ever
look on
seen.
his face. What did I just do?
It's like, I'm like $300. Like, great.
Look at
But
these
hey.
people whispering behind
Oh,
him.
like,
They're
can you believe he
took
just
all
bid
the
that for
tickets.
$300?
What an idiot. I hope he doesn't do that with taxpayer money. People are saying that shit all over the place.
Oh yeah, look at that at the bottom here. Value $300.
That's how much I paid for it.
That's it.
Yeah.
So thank you to Don Poprovac. and the
Anybody
Whiting
need any
Oilers.
Oilman kid T-shirts? I got plenty of them.
So what we were thinking about doing,
not even
John,
one adult Oilman shirt in that basket I got.
I see that. You
But
got
I-
a hat, though.
I got my
Oilman hat.
my flat bill.
So, John, what we were thinking about doing with these 25 tickets was it was making it a Lockpod event, like Lockpod fan event. Like we have 25 tickets.
Yes.
Pick a game during the summer. Nice day. Have like all Lockpod folks out there.
That's right.
Come to actually, it looks
love
good
that
on you.
idea.
At the flat
Little
bill.
flat bill.
I always kick
Look
my
at
kids.
you.
My baseball players did this.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yep.
like every time I saw it,
I agree with you.
I would grab it. They're like, "What are you doing?" I'm
Yep.
like, "No flat bills on my team." And here I am.
This
my,
is the 80s.
my
You're
kids,
benched.
My kids would freak out. Like my baseball player
Kids
kids
love the flat bill now.
I know. I would never let them do it on my team.
I'm with you.
I know.
We're children
I'm a
of the 70s and
traditionalist.
80s.
I'm a traditionalist.
Curve that bill.
So can you use all 25 tickets on the same day?
Yes.
Oh man.
And they're box seats.
we have got to do this like a
Lockpod.
Okay.
Thanks
biggest
to
fan.
Mayor Tom and his bid of
So then
of
Lockpod's
value.
going to reimburse me the
No.
$300.
this is a donation by
said
Tom
no.
McDermott
I'm
to
like,
Lockpod.
I'm down $300 and trying to break even.
No,
here.
you wanted to be big man on campus.
Yeah.
You accomplished it.
If
Yeah.
you want to be invited to the annual Lockpod Oilmen
Yes.
outing,
Yes.
share this stream. That's a good
This
start.
summer.
Yeah.
All
This-
right.
All right, let's go ahead and
Gonna
do some ads.
Let's do some ads and come back.
We got. We're going to talk some Hammond train and.
Oh man. Yeah.
This is a really good. I got a story that we're going to follow up from the last show about the power of the press. How about that? And how powerful the press is, and how the press could make good things happen. Unfortunately, in America, we listen to shit like Fox News that just got sued and paid $787 million.
For not
But
telling
when
the
you
truth.
have an article like ProPublica did that's truthful, impactful, and made a difference.
Yeah, I think we're going to talk about a robust, free, and independent press.
A robust, free, and independent. I like that.
There you go.
Right. All right. Go ahead and start
Those
so
are
I can
goals.
take this.
Absolutely. Come on.
I like the hat. I like the Oilman. I just don't like flat bills.
Misprint Printing. Misprint specializes in delivering the highest quality signs and printing on time and under budget. Misprint's experience and technology allows them to offer custom, commercial, on-demand printing and sign solutions. Rick Baltonsberger and his team have served Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana for over 30 years. They have 2 convenient locations to serve you in Munster and in Hammond. Prestmer Insurance Company. The Ronche Prestmer Insurance Agency has been located for decades right on Indianapolis Boulevard, serving all your insurance needs. They specialize in a wide variety of insurance products and services, including auto, home, business, life, and much, much more. Pressmer Agency serves over 1,000 people and businesses in all Chicagoland and the Midwest. Call Ron, Ronnie, or Michael at 219-844-0103. That's 219-844-0103.
Tortillas Nuevo Leon. Tortillas Nuevo Leon is the gold standard in Mexican cuisine throughout the Midwest. Look for Tortillas Nuevo Leon's popular red and white label at your local grocery store and enjoy quality Mexican products made with local expertise.
Tortillas Nuevo León, hechas con amor, para ti y tu familia de todo corazón. Tortillas Nuevo León, hechas con amor, para ti y tu familia de todo corazón.
You want me to read this one?
Sure.
All right, you guys are in for a treat. Here we go. Warmer temperatures mean unwanted guests such as ants, spiders, wasps, mosquitoes, and more. Shut down their party before they get started.
This is the best read I've ever heard, John.
You like this?
I do.
Why didn't you start with reading the sponsor?
I want to buy this. Who is this? I'm going to buy some.
Yes, tune in. A comprehensive pest plan from the Bug Guy will help you enjoy the great outdoors as well as the indoors all summer long. To solve your pest problem or start a preventative plan, call the Bug Guy today and tell the pest he's on the way. Call Brian, 219-810-7481.
All right, that was pretty
calming.
damn good.
So calming.
I know. I'm gonna.
It's like
he's.
it's like he, even though he watches Fox News and not NPR, he sounds like he should be on NPR.
I agree.
You mean
but like,
state-sponsored media?
If he did all the ads, though, it would take too long.
Yeah,
He's
true.
so
We
slow,
only have
dude.
so much time.
I know. The whole damn show would be ads. John's like enunciating each word, and it's sort of ridiculous, right?
It's like City Hall answering machine that's 3 months behind.
Right. I know. Still talking about last year's Festival of Lakes lineup.
Yeah. Rick Ross.
Limp
Saturday.
Bizkit. Reba McEntire coming to August Fest.
I think I heard that last month.
Calumet Brewing. Whether you're on the golf course or just spending the day in the sun, Michelob Ultra with only 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, and a 4.2 ABV is the perfect beer for a summer day. Michelob Ultra brews a light lager that's worth every sip. So no matter if you're kicking back after a long workout, a pickup game at the park, or a day on the fairways, you're sure to enjoy this great light beer. Don't just drink it, enjoy it. Head over to Cal Brew on Facebook and find the golf bag post for your chances to win through May 12th. You can also head over to the Michelob Ultra websites and social media pages for details on this great family of beers. Enjoy the Ultra lifestyle with beers and cheers responsibly. That would have taken Vesmar 25 minutes to read, right? So, hey, we had a stop by in the studio.
Somebody
A
that's on
Hammond
the
City
ballot.
Councilman who's on the ballot today, Scott Rakos, 6th District Councilman. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing well, Mayor. How are you?
Good. Welcome to Lockpod.
Good morning, Scott. Good morning, Councilman.
Good morning.
I like the shirt. Scott Rakos, 6th District Council. Also, he is the president of the current president of the City Council.
It should have said like El Presidente on the back.
Oh, or
No, I got
Jefe.
nothing on
Dude,
the
yeah.
back.
It's very distinct and to the point.
Yes.
Scott
what I like.
Rakos, 6th District Council.
That's what I like to do.
That's the message today, right?
right?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't say vote or anything.
Yeah, that's
No.
all right.
You walk by, I wouldn't know what to do if you walk by. I'd just be like, dude, that was Scott Rakos.
But I will know who the 6th District Councilman
yeah,
is.
right?
If you listen to the first 30 minutes of our show, you'd think the Markovich race was the only race this season.
Yeah.
But that's not true.
Yep.
Rakos.
Rakos in a race.
And it's in your. He's your councilman, right, John?
No.
No.
A
you're
lot of my
you're-
family and in-laws.
John and I are
That's what
both
it
in the
is.
5th. Warple's our councilman.
Right.
Warple's our councilman.
But I did enjoy your discussion about that former councilman, though.
I'm not wrong, am I?
No, you're absolutely 100% correct.
Thank you. Like, he literally drove a friend of mine out of government.
Yes, he
because
did.
she was terrorized because her mom and Bob had a prior run-in.
Yes.
And he, like, made it his mission to get her out of government. And he did. Congratulations, Bob. She left. She's a freaking judge now.
Yeah.
Like, that was a good move for us, right, Bob? That you attacked her for a decade before she left, right?
Yes.
And this guy's running again. He's an asshole.
Yeah, and he's been that way for his whole career.
He has.
I didn't know him much in his first term, but after that, ever since, I mean, he had a brother who was on the fire department, and he made a point. One time we were literally sitting in 40-year-old chairs at the fire station, and the chief, I think it was Lou Cavelli, got a bid from Lazy Boy chairs to get us some recliners to sit in when we're not,
Right.
on.
Seems reasonable.
He literally went on the city council and on the air, on the record says, "Do we really need Lazy Boy chairs for these lazy firemen?"
Whoa.
Is that a quote?
Yes.
I've said some
And that
things
was
about firemen in my day, but I didn't.
Well, it was because he didn't get along with his brother.
Right.
That's all it was.
That's
Notice the pattern
exactly
here?
that's the example
That's
you
the
gave.
pattern.
It's
That's the
personal
pattern.
vendettas
That's right.
Yeah.
versus what's
Right.
best for the city.
And it's a joke because he says like I'm the taxpayer's watchdog. It's such a bunch
That's
of
the
load of
biggest
shit.
joke.
It is a joke. It's a disgrace. And to anybody that doesn't know Bob like we do,
Right.
they just believe his bullshit. Oh, that's a taxpayer's watchdog, right? He is all about Bob. It's like there's nothing about Hammond in there. There's nothing. It's all about his vendettas from a perfect personal, from previous. It could have been 20 years ago.
Exactly.
He carries it like it's like an active vendetta right now. It's
Right,
ridiculous.
right.
It's ridiculous. He's running again.
Well, there's a big race in the 6th, and I mean that because it's important to keep Scott Rakos in as councilman, and it seems like it's revolving, or at least, if depending on who you're talking to, revolving around this one big issue in Hessville.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Mayor, you want to lead us in on that?
Well, I think first off, I've known Councilman Rakos since I first started running for office, before I was mayor, and at the time he was a chief in the fire department.
No,
when I
I
first met
was
you,
a captain.
okay, I made you chief.
Right.
Okay, yeah, you were a captain in the fire department.
Yes.
With captains, by the way, in the fire department are dudes with
Big
tons
deal.
of seniority.
Mm-hmm.
They run houses,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So you were a captain where?
It's Station 8.
Station 8, which is
The
Hessville,
old
which is where he
Station 8.
works.
Yeah,
right,
the old Station 8,
which is
right.
where he is councilman now. So he was the fireman in Hessville with the most seniority. That's a
Right.
safe way to say
Yeah,
it for that
pretty
shift,
much, yes.
right? So Scott has for his whole career, he's known what trains have done to response times with the fire department, what trains have done to, just safety in general in Hessville. Like if I can't get a fireman on the other side of the tracks to save a choking kid, I can't get a police officer over there if I need that officer either.
Mm-hmm.
This is like a quality of life issue as much as it's very frustrating to live in Hessville.
Stalled. So if you're not from Northwest Indiana, and you're listening to this. Hammond is pockmarked all across the city with train tracks,
And it makes
because
sense.
It is the next stop to Chicago.
And think about like what the Midwest looks like, guys. Our city is right at the lower end of Lake Michigan. So Chicago is, on just the other side of the lake. All the traffic from Chicago, all the traffic from California that comes through the Midwest goes right through Hammond. All the rail traffic, all the street traffic, everything goes through our city. Yeah. It's a great city for logistics reasons, but
Absolutely.
But unfortunately, we have to deal with trains, and trains could stop
Crisscross across the city.
But when they stop in Hessville, they could stop for days.
Yes.
That's
Literally
4 days.
Yes.
With Christmas this year.
Christmas time that happened.
Right?
I go.
It was literally
all right,
stopped for the whole holiday.
Usually they like to stop like 3 or 4 hours. Usually right about the same time schools are getting out, which
Right.
is crazy. I mean, but
Thank you.
like you said, Christmas time it was 4 days.
And so think about that. So you have to literally go way out of your way to get around the train. It'll be like 10, 15-minute detour. So does public safety.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, a lot of people don't like that. Living next to that, it's constant. So they say, I can't live here anymore. I'm going to move someplace where there's no damn trains. And that's no good for me and my business because I'm trying to keep people here, right?
Quality of life.
That's right. So Councilman and I get together and we team up with the state of Indiana and get them to pay for a bridge that's going to take care of the traffic and people on bikes, being fair, right?
Yeah.
If you're walking, I realize this is a detour and it's a hard detour. If you're walking, you could do it, but it's out of your way. It'll get you over without going through the train, though.
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
So
it will.
I think for traffic and for bike traffic, like that'll free everything up, right? Now, I acknowledge that one of the weaknesses in this plan is the kids that are walking immediately to that school.
And we're going to get to that, but I want you
Right.
to want you to focus once again, Mayor, on the money, because you said you teamed up with the state, and I mean this is substantial. The estimate on the bridge
75%.
is $14 million, and how much is the state paying for it?
10.5,
And the railroad's paying for
$500,000-ish,
Okay,
and then
so-
the city of Hammond's paying the rest, 2.5, 3, right? So for $2.5 for $3 million, we can't even build a bike trail bridge for that.
Nope.
I'm getting a traffic bridge that'll take care of the traffic problem, that'll take care of the bicycle traffic problem, and it'll get us over these perpetually stopped trains.
And increase
Councilman
quality of
Rakos
life
and
for
I-
those people that
right.
can stop.
So like that's a big part of our problem in Hessville. It's not the entire 100% of the problem, but like
No, it's always
80%,
been, yes.
85% is taken care of with this solution that's being paid for by Governor Holcomb in the state of Indiana. Like this is a no-brainer. And for Scott, who's going along with it, because he also realizes it's not a total solution to the total problem, but there's a solution to 80, 85% of the problem. Scott Rakos, like a good elected official, is going along saying this is somebody else is paying to solve our problem.
Right. I was excited when I heard about this. How can I help? You know?
And you're not the only one that's excited because we polled the entire neighborhood,
Yes.
the entire area that's affected by this twice.
Right.
And we got 75% responses. And by the way, Kevin, Kevin was in charge of that. I'm sure you're aware of that, Scott.
Yes.
Kevin usually does the polling for the city.
And John.
And John. By the way, guys, you guys are a couple cheats that only did what I told you to do. According to our opponents, is we were like rigging the numbers. We're doing everything we can to skew the numbers so that it would come out the way we wanted it.
Yeah, the irony of that is, John, how many conversations have we had about hey, making sure that this is fair, making sure that it is anonymous, right?
100%.
I mean, we're like, we don't even want any information that would let us know who voted how, who's voting, who's not.
Even
So don't want it.
even results that are like maybe not clear, we give it the benefit of the doubt
Right.
to the opposition.
Sure.
You know?
So Carlotta King, who lives right by City Hall, has nothing to do with this at all, other than the fact she's a school board member. But quite frankly, she's not affected by this bridge in the slightest bit whatsoever. She's on the front page of the ProPublica article arguing that we're not doing our jobs, and it's so ridiculous. Like,
That doesn't make any
she's
sense.
like, I wasn't polled. You didn't send me that postcard. You live by City Hall. Of course I'm not going to send
I
you.
didn't get one either.
You're not even close to this problem.
Why didn't I get one?
I am affected by this. I didn't even get one. I live literally 2 miles from the project. I didn't send it to my house because we had a defined area.
Yep.
We wanted to know
Most affected.
the people that are closest to this project. How do you feel about it? Right? I don't care how Miss King feels about it. She's not even close to this project. That's why she didn't get a postcard in the mail. Right? It wasn't because we were trying to omit Miss King.
Well,
it's because she doesn't live anywhere near the project, so she didn't get the postcard.
And by the way, there's a history along the same lines when you've polled other areas of the city.
we do the same thing
when
every
you did
time.
Boy
You know
Scout
that as
Road,
well as
when
I
you
do,
do
Kevin.
different
We
areas
send
of
it
the
to
city,
the
yeah.
neighborhood that's affected because we don't care how other people, if you're using my neighborhood as a shortcut and I'm pulling my neighborhood on how I feel about people using my neighborhood as a shortcut, I'm not going to send it to the people using it as a shortcut. I'm going to send it to the people that live
are
in my
most
neighborhood. And they're
affected.
like, yeah, it sucks. People are using my neighborhood as a shortcut. I don't care how the dude that's using it as a shortcut
Well, and
feels.
ironically, sometimes the polls have come back like, it's okay that it's a shortcut. Keep it open.
That happens more times than we thought.
Right. And so
And
that's
we've killed projects because of that, Kevin.
Yep.
Because of your polls, yours and John. Excuse me. Right. So you guys are rigging the results for us. by the
Always,
way.
yeah, man.
Right.
That's what
and Scott is a bad elected official because he's trying to solve a problem. As am I.
And I think the interesting thing about
Of
this
course,
whole
I don't
issue,
feel that way. I think Scott's
course.
amazing and tough. By the way, this is not easy.
No, it's not.
People are like telling us we don't like animals and we don't like nature.
Yep.
That's not fun during an election.
No, it's not.
especially when you do like
It's
animals
free
and
money.
nature.
Yes. And our portion of it came up through ARP through the federal government. So literally, nearly none of the money comes from the citizens.
taxpayers, the general
or
fund,
taxpayers of Hammond.
Somebody the other day in the meeting, Scott, said they're going to build it through 8,000-year-old dunes. Like 8,000-year-old
Wow,
dunes.
how do you know
like
that?
it's like dinosaurs were walking in there.
I
Like
think that's before
The mastodon.
Jesus.
it
is
was
before
definitely
Jesus.
before. Like it was definitely before Jesus. But
Good point, John.
The funny thing about that is, my opponent took the council
Poor
into
Jesus.
that dunes, and in the middle of it, I was standing there with Dave Hammond. In the middle of it, there is a fire hydrant and a sewer cover.
How dare they?
I go, Dave, is that a 4,000-year fire hydrant? It looks
4,000.
kinda-
They had it was an early fire
And
hydrant.
there's an aqueduct.
Yeah,
the Romans
right.
were.
Yeah, right.
So, the interesting thing about this, Mayor, and I'd like to go this way, is it kind of took a left turn also on another issue, thanks to a ProPublica article.
So ProPublica, which is a national article that does exposés, they don't do stories, and it's obviously not-
Investigative reporting.
investigative reporting, and when they do a story, they latch on like a pit bull and they don't let go. And ProPublica covered this story in Hammond. It came out last week. And Scott, I know I was keeping Scott in the loop about who I was talking to. The CEO of Norfolk Southern called me. Federal Railroad Administration called us. Like, we have meetings with the FRA coming up. Good
Administrator
progress.
of the FRA.
I talked to the CEO of Norfolk Southern, and then my people talked to their people.
Okay.
And are they still talking?
Yes. It's ongoing. And by the way, just to give you, again, a little history, the mayor has sat in meetings with the FRA staff over the last decade. And every time they say, hey, they want to help, but their hands are tied.
Now
they want to do this, but they can't do it. And now all of a sudden,
What's the difference?
The difference is this ProPublica article.
There's no doubt about
literally,
it. There's no doubt
literally.
about it. Everybody in the country
It was on
saw
Inside
this.
Edition yesterday.
It was on
Right.
Inside
It was on.
Edition.
I mean, and John, can you show some of these videos, John? I don't know if you can bring them up or not, but these are the videos that people were seeing that got people so upset, and they are upsetting to see. You see kids, you see young kids hopping over trains to get to school. And by the way, this has happened for decades. This isn't something
We've talked
new.
about this, I know, but it's just
It finally, the power of the press.
the power. You know what the difference is, honestly? because we've talked about this for years. I'm going to tell you what the difference is, in my opinion. See if you guys agree with me. East Palestine, Ohio, shifted everything. Now everybody's looking at trains differently after East Palestine.
Hypersensitive to train
and now
issues.
if this story comes out prior to East Palestine, I don't even know if anybody watches it. But after East Palestine, everybody's focused on trains. Then this comes out, boom. Norfolk Southern's going to help me fix this problem, Scott. I'm telling you.
They're
going to help me. And when I
so
say
good to hear.
When I say help, I think they're willing to pay for most of it, if not all of it.
Let's get that figured out. And I would say this.
But Kev, could I before?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mayor.
The CEO I talked to was a great guy. I want to tell you, I'm an expert at reading people. That's what I do. Okay, that's how I've been successful in politics. I get a feeling off somebody. That guy cared about what he saw. He cared about it was his company. I'm not BSing. This guy actually gives a shit.
Well, I think that's what you want to hear.
Totally
about
exactly
corporate
what we
citizen.
want to
Be
hear.
a good corporate citizen.
He was
right?
like, "Can you tell me what it's like in your city?" And I told him, Scott, I was like, Alan, I go, during the holidays, your train stopped for 4 days. Like, it's brutal. It's like, you can't imagine how bad it is. We're trying our best, and I'm not an asshole just going to beat up on you, and I'm not just telling you this. I'm like, it's a major impact. It's making us hard to do business. I'm losing residents, and I could tell he cared. You could tell he's like, oh,
that's
my
what
God,
you want.
I'm so sorry. And by the way, this is the guy. He didn't cause East Palestine. He took over within the last year. He went to East Palestine, Ohio, and had a town hall. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Where he was in the town hall. That is. I've been in some bad mayor's nights. Can you imagine if you ruined a bunch of people's property and did a town hall there?
That would not be a good
So
situation.
this is the real deal. This guy's the real deal. I trust him, and I think he's going to help us fix that problem.
Yeah, and
Scott.
kudos to ProPublica. I know Trofer Sanders and Dan Schwartz specifically, I think, were the reporters on this, were the top two reporters, but they also had Investigate TV and their folks on it. I know they came in from D.C., and there was a second article that came out just recently, and this was published yesterday, talking about the event, so the hearing.
I want to say thanks to Councilman Rakos. Seriously, you've been a great council person. Okay, but on this issue, this is not. I'm sure. Yeah. I was sitting in that meeting the other day, and I was beating myself up. I'm like, dude, this is a nightmare. We got a freaking election in a week. Scott's been a great council person. He's doing the right thing, and then we got this damn issue that's blowing up right before the election.
Yeah, it didn't feel good that night.
I know, man. I didn't feel good. You know that. I drove around for like 45 minutes by myself,
right,
and just contemplated the world.
Yeah. Well, and this is something to remember. This is also something to remember today because it's election day. A lot of times you always hear the people that are opposed to something come out and vote. If you are happy with the train, happy with the ideas the mayor and Scott just talked about, go out there and reelect Scott Rakos.
That's the thing.
I mean, don't sit back and say everything's fine. I don't need to go vote. It is so important to go vote.
What you just said is so true. It's like when people are pissed about anything, they show up in force, right?
Yes.
Like we saw it the other day.
Oh, yeah.
All the opponents of that project were there.
Right.
But the 75% of the people that returned their postcard and said this is a great project, they didn't show up.
They're like, oh, don't worry. Councilman Scott and Mayor Tom will take care of it.
You guys got this, right?
But people from Highland and Illinois were all there.
But make sure you vote. If you're one of the people that are in favor of the bridge and feel like, don't worry, Councilman Scott and Mayor Tom will take care of it, don't feel that way to the point where you're not voting. Take care of them today.
You got to take care of us, too. If we drop the ball, and Ken sneaks in, I'm telling you, he's going to try to derail this project, and that's a fact, right? And I don't want to talk like that because I know Scott's going to win, but that's his goal. The only reason he's running for office, he doesn't know shit about police, fire, contracts. He doesn't know anything about the city at all, other than he wants to stop this project. Is that a fair statement?
That's all I've ever heard.
Is that a fair statement?
I think it's totally fair.
And Scott,
if somebody were asking about a lighting project, he had no idea.
He has no idea even with the streets in the 6th district, right?
That's
You've been
correct,
a councilman.
yes.
One of the things about firefighters, if you go into every station, they have a map of the entire district,
Yes,
the city, but of each district, and every firefighter has to know that map like the back of their hand.
We were in it's a funny story, right? We were in a meeting recently. I think it was a staff meeting, and Councilman Dave Hamm was there, and somebody was asking about, oh, is that closer to this street or that street? And he rattled off every street between Columbia and Calumet on 150.
That's a firefighter.
Rattled them right off.
That's how we do it.
It's like, oh, you mean Cedar Pine Ash, whatever it was.
Right.
Cedar Pine Oak Ash.
See? That's how. So, what I'm saying is, in this
That's
race,
in North Hammond.
You look at the 6th district. You got a guy that you were in dispatch for a long time too,
Yes,
so he's familiar with police and fire. All right, he knows the streets like the back of his hand. He's lived in the 6th his whole life.
Pretty much.
His family lives in the 6th district.
Yes.
It's like Scott Rakos is the 6th district. His blood is the 6th district. His whole life, his professional life, everything, and we had this big deal project that he's rightly supporting. and his proponent's trying to mix it up.
Get out and vote, Hessville.
Get out and vote, Hessville. Vote for Scott Rakos, Hessville,
Yes,
today.
please come out and vote.
And while you're at it, don't mess up my council.
That's right. So before
I'm not supposed to say that.
I wanna ask
I'm not
you-
supposed to say. First off, I have great respect for the Hammond City Council. The Hammond City Council pushes back on me constantly. I'm being silly when I say that. The fact is, there's council people I was in a fight with for multiple years during this last 4-year term, right?
but a lot of mutual respect.
Don't doubt about it. But I don't want anybody to think by any stretch of the imagination that this is an easy council to deal with. It's not. We go back and forth. There's some periods
Yeah,
of
we got to
time
work
where,
stuff out sometimes.
dude, we'll have straight fights between us, but we are good about not taking it on the
Well,
floor.
they're always respectful too. I think in past councils it has been less than respectful.
Markovich would turn a 25-minute council meeting into an hour and a half, just ranting and raving. Don't do that.
So before we let you go, Scott, I know you're a huge music fan and concert goer. So why don't you tell us the last 3 concerts you've been to?
I know one of them.
and I do too. So,
Mellencamp.
and
with
Yeah,
Warple.
Mellencamp
you're
was
giving
just
away the
recently.
answer, like answering
No,
for him.
I want to show him how well I know.
I know you
He's
know
one
his
of my
face to
bosses,
face.
man. He's one of
Showing
my
off.
bosses.
All right. So what else?
Pull that.
Or what do you got coming? Coming or what you just
Coming,
came
I
to?
got Springsteen.
Wow.
I got multiple tickets. In fact, I need to talk to you, Kevin.
Yes, I need one of
about,
those.
About what?
about one of those.
About Springsteen?
Yes.
Yes. I got-
Kevin's a huge fan.
Yes.
I've seen him.
I love him.
I've seen him 12 to 15
I'm
times
about
or
10.
something, Yeah.
That's like me with the Dead.
Yeah.
I'm going to see Dead and Company.
I
on
think you're way
Saturday.
over 10.
Are you?
The Dead.
Me? I am.
Yeah.
Probably. I'm going to see.
So where else?
I've been known. I think I got tickets to see Pink again. I think Pink is a very talented,
yeah.
There you go.
talented thing.
I had a,
That's not my normal.
yeah,
I
no,
tend to be
actually,
more-
Steve Kellogg got me tickets one time and I didn't go. It was sort of controversial.
Oh,
I don't know. Pink didn't do it for me, but Marissa told me I missed a really good show.
Did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she puts out a good
well, good.
show.
So you got
Yeah.
some tickets
Yeah,
coming.
I do.
Good. All right. Well, good luck today, Scott, and thanks
All
for
right, thank
coming.
You're
in,
going to
man.
win, dude.
Thank you.
I know.
On the way here, my grandson called me and was taking him. They were taking him to school. He says, "Papa, you got it. Don't worry about
You
it."
do.
Wow.
But do me a favor.
I know.
If he
For the rest
knows.
of the day, just call people in the 6th District.
I will be.
Yep.
Get
doing
them
a lot
out.
of that,
Seriously.
Yes.
Just call. Get your family. Just call all day long.
Okay.
And then
Get-
at 6 o'clock, go out to the parties.
Yes.
All right.
Get
All
that
right,
poll
bud.
book list.
Thank
Good
you
luck,
very much.
Scott.
Thanks.
Good luck,
Thanks.
man. Go
Thanks.
get him. All
That's
right.
Councilman Scott Rakos, Hammond 6th District, running for re-election. So get out there and vote for him.
All right. Let's do some ads and come back. We got a real interesting story about Ron DeSantis.
This is a really good story. So hang on. It's about DeSantis versus Disney. This is a really, really interesting story. So hang on. We're going to cover it. I think we have different kind of insight because this is really like a TIF district we're talking about, and Kevin and I deal with these things all the time in our office, in our
So
work.
stay tuned.
Stay tuned. You're going to like this next segment. Let's go ahead. Powering America. Are you looking for a new career in 2023? You're looking to earn a competitive wage while you gain valuable hands-on experience as an electrician? Question mark. Did we mention employer-paid benefits? Question mark. Health insurance? Huh? Pension? Annuity? We didn't, did we? Well, if you're interested in this kind of stuff, visit JACT697.org. That's JACT697.org. Sponsoring by Powering America.
I want Dodie to tell us how many young men and women have become electricians because of our show.
Oh,
Yeah.
We have legions of electricians.
Legions. I love that word.
Legions of electricians. That's probably
In the making.
That's a and for the running of.
Legions. Byway Brewing is a family-friendly microbrewery with a spacious tap room and outside patio and a new 3-way liquor license. Our brewing equipment offers a unique backdrop for your private event like weddings, reunions, or corporate parties. Byway is conveniently located just off of 8094 at the Kennedy Avenue South exit. Come on by and enjoy Byway's award-winning beers and unbeatable menu. Phil just informed me that they are making the lobster roll part of the permanent menu there.
Wow.
Permanent menu.
Is it really good? I've never had it.
Well, you know, Phil's a huge lobster fan, and he says it's awesome
Wow.
when you can
Phil
get
and
it.
my brother have that in common.
Big lobster fans.
Yeah, dude. I went on a cruise with Aaron one time,
Mm-hmm.
and Aaron ordered at one dinner like 4 lobsters.
Because-
and you know they
because
have to
you
give it to
can.
him. Yeah, and he ate it.
Whoa.
I thought he was gonna like.
It's a lot of
swell up.
shellfish.
dude. I know. Like
Maybe
I
I
ate
could do
lobster
that.
one time at Horseshoe. No, king crab, and it
Uh-huh.
was just so much. My lips and everything.
I think
blew
that'll
out.
happen with all that shellfish.
Yeah, dude. I was like, what's going on? Like,
Just too much crab.
yeah.
For more information, check out bywaybrewing.beer.
Cantrell and Cantrell. Are you looking for a lawyer? Are you looking for 2 lawyers? If you're looking for 2 lawyers, I'd go to Cantrell and Cantrell. They're both attorneys at law. If you're injured, if you're in trouble with the law, give them a call and schedule a consultation today with somebody who's in the court and at the jail every day. Call John Cantrell at 219-554-4LAW. That's 219-554-4529. Or visit their website at bettercallcantrell.com. John and his wife, Kristen, make a great team and are waiting to hear from you.
John.
Me. All right. Rogers Roofing.
Sit back and relax.
Jesus.
When you want the best for your home and family, trust the best in the business. Rogers Roofing. Rogers Roofing has transformed homes in Northwest Indiana and Chicagoland for more than 54 years, providing quality roofing, siding, gutters, and windows, all backed by the best warranties in the industry. To learn more and to schedule your free consultation, visit rogersroofing.com or call 219-933-9145 today. That's rogersroofing.com, 219-933-9145. And remember, at Rogers Roofing, excellence is expected every time.
I had 2 cups of coffee during that ad.
They're getting their bang for their buck with me, man.
Yeah,
That's
they
all
are.
I can say.
If they're a John fan, they're getting it.
Yeah.
You doing the last one, Kev?
Oh, sure.
I'll do it. Are you facing legal challenges and don't know where to turn? Look no further than Kuklakless Law, your trusted source for legal advice in Indiana and in Illinois. Do you need representation buying or selling real estate? Call Kuklakless.
Clock is.
Clock kiss.
Ku Klok Kiss Law.
Thank
Do you
you.
need help forming a business? If so,
saw that,
call
heard
Ku
that.
Klok Kiss Law. Did you get injured in a car crash or at your job? If so, call Ku Klok Kiss Law. No matter what your legal issue is, call Ku Klok Kiss Law.
Now you got it. Now you got it.
219-671-6347 for a free consultation. That's 219-671-6347. Hablamos español.
You
All
got
right.
that down.
Let's go.
Bring it in,
All right.
locomotive.
We got, we were talking about this before we came in, John, and it's an interesting way to start it off is we have Gavin Newsom running for president, but nobody's covering it. We have Joe Biden running for president, and nobody's really that excited about it. We have Ron DeSantis running for president, but he's not telling anybody, right?
Trump running.
We have Trump running for president. Nobody's paying attention to it, right? We had a governor, I think, Hutchinson from
Oh, yeah, Asa.
he's
Hutchinson.
running also.
Running. Alabama.
And then, but so like we have all this stuff happening and it's really like doesn't even feel like I'm fearful of the fact that we're going to have a rematch of Joe Biden and Donald Trump.
Which no one will be excited about.
It's like 2, 80-year-olds running against each other. I mean, seriously, we can't do better than that, America. It's such a disgrace. It really is. It's a disgrace that these are the 2 people. Like this is what we're headed towards.
Well, Ron DeSantis is trying to make that different. We were talking earlier that he's running around the world. Now, to me,
weird.
I don't. Yeah, John and I were talking about this. Like, what? Like, could you imagine like a province in, I don't know, Japan, and the governor's coming over and he gets to sit with President Biden? That doesn't happen,
Right.
And yet Governor DeSantis is sitting with Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Japan. I'm trying to think where else he went, John.
He went Europe
Really?
somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere in
I didn't
Europe. Oh,
realize
he went to
I tell you
London.
what, man.
It's weird. I was like, how does that
Netanyahu-
even happen?
He's like the Trump of Israel now.
Yeah, he is.
Mm-hmm.
He's
He
already under indictment.
I know.
Unlike Trump. Well, I guess.
But
Trump
like
is
that's
too,
so stupid on
statewide,
his
but-
part. He's meeting with like how dumb is that?
Well, I mean, there's
Like,
a lot of
we're
conservatives
their
that
bi-
love Netanyahu.
I agree, but like
Yeah.
we're their biggest ally. What if he like offends America so bad? We're like, hey, listen, good luck with with Palestine out there, guys.
Well, I think ever since Obama, Netanyahu's been like a very. It's very obvious where he sits on the political spectrum.
I agree with
America.
you, but like, why is he? He is like literally angry in half of America doing what he does, and I'm a Democrat, obviously, and I've always considered Netanyahu and Israel allies of America. And now I'm starting to feel like he's getting political and making me feel uncomfortable with that relationship,
He even
which
had to-
isn't good for Israel.
He even had to be careful about commending President Trump when DeSantis was there. I don't know if you heard that, John.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I don't get that, man.
It's weird.
It's
I mean,
real-
it's
it's
like
dumb.
you're picking sides. Or
It's
you're getting
dumb.
people.
You're picking
candidates
sides. You
and
should just be like thankful that America supports you, not get into America's
politics.
incredibly divisive politics.
You would think that the foreign policy advisors would be telling him that, but maybe he doesn't listen.
He's probably like Trump. He's like, I know better than all you guys.
I think he's kind of like that.
I agree with you.
Get that because he had to back off when he was trying. I mean, they had that huge thing with the judiciary and the Supreme Court. They tried to change the way the Supreme Court was made up. He had to back down from that. It was terrible and huge
God,
protests.
Did you see the other day Putin was firing missiles at Kiev and he just straight up nailed this apartment building?
No.
Like it's not even trying to like go after military targets. He's literally like targeting civilians. He like multiple like 9 and 10-year-olds were killed in that. They were all
Very-
sleeping in their apartment.
Very
What a
concerning.
freaking monster, dude! Like who could support that? And like honestly, Fox News butters up Russia all the time too. Like, how could we have a bunch of traitors in our own country, man?
I don't get, and if you have a good reason to say this, I guess maybe I just haven't heard it yet, but it is very concerning when you hear people say we should be friendlier with Russia and less supportive of Ukraine.
Agree.
I mean, there are so many Republicans that are right lockstep with with helping Ukraine. I think you don't have to go back in modern history to know what happens in Europe when you have a monster, in charge.
Well, how about this? There was yesterday, Poland seized like a Russian school in Warsaw because Russia was using it for like spying and stuff like that, right? So Poland seizes it, and then they asked the Russian like ambassador or whoever what they thought about Polish, and he said basically we're gonna freaking teach the Poles a lesson and round them up like dirty rats.
Whoa.
I'm like, my
sounds-
wife is 100% Polish, and the Russian is calling them a bunch of dirty rats, and we're going to teach them a lesson. And I'm like, my wife was born in Poland, so any Republican that watches Fox News and believes that bullshit, they feel that way about Marissa. Like, that's where it starts to hit home, doesn't it? It's like my wife's 100% Polish. If you support Putin, you support that asshole ambassador that's calling all the Poles a bunch of dirty rats.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing you got to be careful is the slippery slope, because like if you go back, and we're not, there's a lot of Russian Americans. They're not all supportive of. You can't like say like, oh, you must be supportive
Kevin,
of Putin.
That's
right?
how it starts, bud.
I agree. That's what you
It
got to be
didn't start in
careful of.
Germany with the German people. It started with extreme politics.
Extreme
and then
politics,
right?
That's right.
When you're calling the Poles a bunch of dirty rats and we're going to exterminate them because they did what they did with their country, then people start thinking like, oh, Poles are a bunch of dirty rats, right?
They're against Russians,
right?
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I
Dude,
mean, look at
that one hit home for me, obviously.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
like,
one of the podcasts I listened to recently, and I'm not a huge Rachel Maddow fan, but this podcast is really good. It's called Ultra, and it talks about. It's good, John. It's really interesting, and
Is
it
she the
talks
host?
about. She is. So, I mean, I know you're not a big fan of hers, and I don't watch Rachel Maddow. I mean, whatever. But this podcast is very, very interesting. It talks about what was happening in America in the 30s and 40s, and how the Germans had infiltrated senators, congressmen, and a lot of America, and Nazi Germany was in America trying to overthrow the U.S. government. It's unbelievable, and it's lost in history. It's really good if you have a chance to listen to it. Ultra, it's really good. So anyway, let's get with Ron DeSantis. What's happening?
go ahead.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I went off on a tangent. Sorry.
Tom
Yeah, we
is
all
like,
did.
You want to say more about this, don't you, Tom?
No.
Oh,
no.
you're done? Okay.
No, I'm just really bothered by the whole world. I'm bothered.
I mean, think
I
about
feel like
that.
we're losing.
When you're insulting Polish people like that, think about that.
Right. But like not just that. Like I said it earlier, we got Biden running for re-election. I'm not thrilled with that. And then the DNC comes out and says, if anybody runs against Biden, like Gavin Newsom, and I'm not a fan of him either because I have friends in California. But let's say Gavin Newsom runs for president, which he's doing right now. He's literally like going around the country taking videos in Texas and Florida and stuff like that. He's running for president. DSCC comes out the other day and says we're not having debates in the president race this year because Joe Biden's the guy.
Crazy.
So if Gavin Newsom runs against his 80-year-old president, Gavin Newsom can't even get on the same stage with them because the Democratic Party is like Communist Party now because they're like, no, we don't even have debate.
Well, same thing GOP did with Trump's reelection.
I agree with you, Ben. I don't think that's right either.
I agree.
I think that you're running for president, that if Gavin Newsom's a better guy, it's a fucking country we're talking about here. It's a freaking country. And if Gavin Newsom could do a better job than 85-year-old Joe Biden, I think we should give him a shot.
Well, I think
you know
you
what I'm
have
saying?
to at least allow for a debate.
Agree. But now the DSCC or the DNC is like, nope, we don't want anybody to debate Biden because if a Democrat, they have said it. You think I'm making this shit up?
I'm just saying I had not heard that.
You said it like you doubted it.
No, sir.
I'm telling you. Look it up, John.
Oh, no,
they
it's
said
for
straight
sure. I
up.
read
They
this
said nobody
last 2 weeks ago.
because if Gavin Newsom debates Joe Biden, Gavin Newsom will tie him up in knots. Joe Biden will limp out of that primary and he'll lose. Maybe that's a clue, guys. Maybe that's a clue.
He can't string a sentence together. Even Kennedy would run circles around him. Mm-hmm. Let's not forget about him.
Robert
He's,
Kennedy,
by the way,
the
every
son
time,
of the slain, Congress
General.
senator, attorney general, wants to run for president.
Brother of the president.
Sorry, you can't debate.
Isn't that something?
It's communist. It's communist, dude. Like
Well-
they're so afraid of our weak candidate that they don't want anybody. What if anybody wanted to run against him?
Right.
They could tear him up. Maybe we have the wrong candidate.
Yeah.
Did anybody ever scratch their head and say, if we have to protect this guy so much, we probably got the wrong guy?
I still think that in a head-to-head, I think Biden wins, but we'll see if
Against
that's
who,
where we get
Kevin?
to. Against
but not
Trump.
in a debate.
Against Trump.
Oh,
Yeah, I still think Biden beats
Interesting.
Trump in a head-to-head.
I think Trump's going to be in jail, and it's going to be some really good candidate in the Republican Party, and they're going to be going up against an old man and beat his ass. That's
Hopefully
what I'm
not
afraid
Ron
of.
DeSantis.
Okay, what if it's somebody else? The Republicans get their shit together, they back a real strong candidate, and he kicks Biden's ass because the Republicans are going to debate him.
It'd be
Because
concerning.
yeah, we're protected. It's like Rocky. Did you ever see Rocky?
Yes, I have.
You know how in Rocky they were protecting the champ so that he
Yes.
never had to fight anybody? And then what happened when Mr. T came along? Mr. T kicked his ass, right? Right? That's what we're doing with Biden right now. We're protecting Biden. We're like, you can't fight him, Biden.
Well, yeah, and don't forget, right, exactly. And that's a great reference. That Rocky reference that the mayor just did, it's awesome. But actually pretty good, too. But he's going to have to debate in the fall. Mm-hmm. So, like, you're just setting him up with, like, okay, now you're on stage with the presidential debate. Can we do that again?
Mr. T?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
Mr.
that.
T is going to...
The A-team.
Sometimes I amaze myself.
Yes.
So what's going on with Meatball Ron?
We never even talked once about
We
Disney
never-
yet.
No,
talked about
it's a really interesting story, too.
So basically, Florida state law back in the 1950s, before Disney even built in Florida, it was a swamp where Disney World is.
Mm-hmm.
And Disney made a deal with Florida back in the 50s or 60s,
67,
okay, that said, if we're going to do what we want to do there and build Disney World, we have to own everything. We have to be our own government. We have to do everything because it's a swamp. We're going to have to invest billions of dollars into this swamp to turn it into this mecca that we want to build. But if you guys are going to let us do this, Florida, you have to give us total control.
Yeah, kind of like a county government.
Yeah,
Is a good way to put it.
They basically have their own government. It's like a redevelopment commission, right, Kevin? That's really what the closest equivalent-
5-person commission.
right? And Florida went along with it back in the 60s, and they said if you're going to do, and Disney over the years has built a world famous attraction there, right?
I can't imagine Orlando, Florida without it.
So and they're still in charge of that government,
Yeah.
and DeSantis. Florida had the audacity, Disney had the audacity under their former CEO, who was a guy named Bob Chapek. The only reason I know Bob Chapek is this. He was the CEO for less than a year, went to Hammond High School. So now I that's how I know Bob Chapek.
Went to Clark.
I thought he went to Hammond High.
Clark. Robert Steele guy.
Okay. So he's a Hammond guy. Okay. So he was CEO of Disney for less than a year. One of the reasons he was Disney CEO for less than a year is because Ron DeSantis is running for president. And one of the issues Ron DeSantis is running on is the Don't Say Gay law, which is intended to shield the children of Florida from harmful materials that could encourage them to become gay. John, help me out here. I'm not an expert on the Don't Say Gay law.
I think he's running on like anti-woke
Policies. I agree
stuff,
with you.
not necessarily the
Okay,
anti-gay.
you're
law.
right. I agree with you, John.
Although
It's-
he is pushing
he's like
it. He pushed
fighting
it.
woke America.
He pushed the anti. I mean,
Right, but that's all part of the
whatever
same
the
umbrella.
word. Right. Sure.
John's umbrella is DeSantis is fighting the wokeness of America.
Yeah, and he's taken offense to Disney coming out in support of the
otherwise
quote,
known as
unquote,
Don't Say Gay law.
In fact, he specifically warned Chapek when he was CEO at Disney, don't go there, Bob. It's not going to be good for you.
Well, Tom, this is a point I wanted to make was in the notes I saw this. So Disney kind of messed this up. They didn't come out for it at first. Then they had all the woke people attacking them. So they waited too long. Then they came out in support of it. Then they have the, for lack of a better word, the more common sense people saying, what are you guys doing? You shouldn't be wading into these waters. So they kind of got beat up on both sides.
Well, Disney's woke. I mean, Disney's
Oh,
a California company. They're LA. They're
so
Southern
woke.
California.
So
But John,
sad.
they are.
Yeah.
They are. So then they've been in Florida since the 60s and 70s. But Disney is. Disney's
the-
Southern California. Disney's Hollywood.
One
Disney
of the biggest employers.
Right.
One of the biggest, companies in the world, let alone Florida.
Right. So like now Florida politics, quite frankly, is really what's changed. Right? Disney's politics hasn't changed a damn bit.
Nope.
Florida's politics has changed with DeSantis.
I don't know.
And
it wasn't
before that-
always like this, man.
I lived in Florida, buddy. I lived in Florida for 2 years. It was pretty.
Disney
It
was
pretty-
always woke.
No, well, I think Disney always had a entertainment / liberal quality to
Wow.
them.
I
I
think
would
so.
say,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Okay.
you've got the Seven Dwarfs and Cinderella and everybody else running around in costumes in Florida and California.
It by leaps and bounds has gotten really bad. with
So
Disney.
anyway,
I don't know
nonetheless,
really bad, but it's different.
nonetheless, so DeSantis makes it his mission in life to start messing with Disney. And because Disney's so woke, and Disney came out against DeSantis's Don't Say Gay law, and obviously Disney has a huge presence in Florida, huge power. I mean, huge, powerful, wealthy company. So DeSantis starts looking at the Reedy Creek Development District,
The governance, yeah.
which is what we talked about earlier, which is what Disney said, if we're going to come in, you're going to have to give us this 5-person board, so we're in charge of everything. Police department, fire department, building department, everything. Everybody in that section of Orlando works for the Reedy Creek Development District, not for the city of Orlando.
And if you listen to Governor DeSantis, his argument is, why should this business be treated different than any other business in the state of Florida?
That's right. But the problem is this has been going since. So what happens with Space Mountain in Disney World? Space Mountain pays property taxes. That property tax doesn't go to the city of Orlando, though. It goes to the Reedy Creek Development District, where this 5-member board has a staff that manages city managers, police officers, firemen. Everything the city government has is in this district, and they only answer to themselves. So the property taxes that Space Mountain pays goes to this district. If they want to build another ride and an attraction, they finance it with their money. So there's like billions of dollars in debt in this district. Now along comes Governor DeSantis, and he changes the composition of the board. He replaces all 5 members to 5 members basically appointed by him.
Yeah, it's interesting. They changed the name of it. I think it's called like Central Florida
Tourism.
something district right now, instead of used to be called Reedy Creek Development District, or and
Central Florida Tourism Oversight District,
something like that, right? And these are all, by the way, now the state legislature passed that law and allowed the governor to appoint people to that board.
And he did.
And they
But
were
what
all
happened?
pro DeSantis people.
But before they took over, the entire last board basically made it impossible for the new board to do business.
Yeah, it's really interesting and kind of a sneaky and a good, in a very kind of like strategic way. So if you imagine it this way, like the mayor said, the Reedy Creek board passed a bunch of resolutions, ordinances, laws, whatever you want to call them, before they were disbanded. And
they did it legally too.
Yeah, they did. Open, had it at public meetings that were noticed in public, passed all these agreements with Disney that kind of put in place a 30-year situation that's very similar to what they currently have.
And they figure in the next 30 years we'll have a good governor that's not an asshole.
They're playing the long game, right?
Right. We'll get a governor that's not an asshole, and we'll work with that new governor to get everything back to the way it was.
Right. So they kind of surprised the Central, I already forgot the name, Tourism Bureau, because, what happened was legislature said the Reedy Creek Development District is now disbanded, and now you have this new board. And now the new board's saying, like, wait a minute, we're going to overturn the things that they just did, but it's 2 different entities. You can't just have the new board say, we're revoking X, Y, and Z because it was done by a different entity. It'd be like the county saying, we're going to undo what the mayor did. Can't do that.
Right.
I have never seen a state lawmakers so in step with a governor.
Agree.
I mean, they just passed a law that allows the governor only, that position, to run for president without resigning. That is the most nuanced,
it's
blatant.
not right, John. It's not right.
Of course, it's not right.
I mean, that's what they do in Indiana all the time. They're like, yeah, we have
Don't get
special
me started
legislation.
on
No,
Indiana.
but no, it's
That's crazy. So he's going to be able to run for governor and
Yes.
run for president?
They
he
changed
ran
the
for
law
governor.
to
He just got
benefit him.
elected governor.
Oh, but he doesn't have to resign to run
Correct.
for president. I see what you're saying. Okay. Wow.
It's a joke. I'll be honest with you. I don't think a guy like Ron DeSantis is a good elected official personally. And I'm not like, if I was looking at Republicans running, this is not the guy, in my opinion. And if I had to analyze, I think the best candidate Republicans are running right now is Haley.
Because she looks like Marissa.
No, I actually think she's a really level-headed Republican.
I agree with you.
Really level-headed Republican. I think that she's level-headed until I see more. I think she's the most level-headed out of all of them. Ron DeSantis, if you can't get along, it would be like, this is the equivalent in Hammond of, I could do something like this in Hammond and cut off my nose and spite my face. Horseshoe Casino. We own the land that they operate on, right, Kevin?
Yes, we do.
So let's say we get in such a bad fight with Horseshoe Casino that we block all traffic to Horseshoe Casino. I could do that as mayor.
Chris Christie.
Right? I could block all traffic and be like, hey, we're going to work on all the roads. It's going to be a couple weeks before it's all open again, right? And we could have a little detour, a shitty little detour nobody's going to take, right? And then I could teach them a lesson. Like, ha, Horseshoe, there you go, Horseshoe. Who's got the power now, right? But the fact is this. Is that really helping my city? No.
I think this is interesting, actually. Tom, that we've kind of gone full circle here. You started off the show talking about elected officials that play on personal vendettas instead of what's good for the city, and here we are, all the way back. Deep. And that's kind of the reason I don't necessarily support. I don't support DeSantis because it seems like he's very, like it's kind of like personal with him, and he showed that with this Disney thing. It's like, okay, I'm going to really screw these guys over.
You do have power if you're
absolutely,
a governor.
but wield it responsibly and for the best for the citizens of Florida.
Perfect,
I don't agree with, and I think it's the same thing you talked about in Hammond. And it's the same thing we talked about, just with Putin. And it's like, hey, at the end of the day, you have an obligation to those people that you serve. And that's how you should act as an elected official.
Yeah, I think DeSantis is already showing signs of cracking under pressure. The reviews are in from his world tour. It was a joke. It was terrible.
DeSantis world tour.
Yeah.
Is there a T-shirt for that?
I want a T-shirt with stops on the back.
And then did you see someone at one of his world tour stops said, "Hey, DeSantis, do you have any comment on the polls widening between you and Trump?" And he came like a little girl. He's like, you know what? I haven't even declared my candidacy yet. It's just like, whoa, man.
And he's done that with reporters.
You're not cut out for this. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So we'll see. Well, that's good. That's an interesting story. If you're out there and you're interested, just learn about it. It's very fascinating on how this is all going to play out because Disney now, and this is another thing we were talking about. Disney has a 1983 civil rights claim against the state.
John, it's one of my biggest fears as mayor is these 1983 cases. They're brutal. They're fee shifters. What that means is if I is the city in a case, if you have a 1983, which is a civil rights violation, they're saying that the city violated a person's civil rights in a case like that. And if the city or the state has to pay a penny in damages, you also have to pay 100% of the other side's attorney fees, right?
That's correct.
So think about why is John, let me just ask you a question as a member of the general public, okay? Why is Ron DeSantis doing that against Disney in your opinion? Just like, what is your opinion? Why is DeSantis declaring war on Disney?
Oh, I mean the anti-woke stuff.
Okay. So basically
it's policy.
So like Disney thinks that that's their First Amendment right to be able to, take positions like that.
Right.
So Disney, in their opinion, they feel that Ron DeSantis, who's made it clear that the reason he's going after him is because of anti-woke policies, is within Disney's First Amendment right. That's a constitutional argument. If they lose $1 on that argument, John, Disney's attorney fees have to be paid by the state of Florida.
Can you imagine?
Which means the taxpayers.
How
exactly,
much
John.
that's going
It's
to
going to
be
be $1 billion in attorney fees, dude.
Massive.
It's going to be $1 billion in attorney fees, John. If they lose one, and you said it right off the top of your head, and I think 90% of the public would agree with exactly what you said, John.
If only Chapek was the CEO, he could hire Smith Sursick. They could some Hammond boys.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I think Florida is in major trouble with this lawsuit. The 1983 that Disney filed, that's the real freaking deal, man.
Well, and even it seems to be cracking, like Iger, who's the former CEO and had been for 15 years prior to Chapek. They're saying this guy is not backing down.
Iger he's a beast.
He's a monster.
They're like, they talk about Iger. They're like, DeSantis is fucking with the wrong guy, man. Yep. Like Bob Iger is the real freaking deal. He's been CEO of Disney for 20 years. Can you imagine? CEO of one of the biggest companies in the world for 20 years, and then you got DeSantis, who's a smart guy. He went to Harvard. He's a military guy, but he's fucking with the wrong guy. Bob Iger's got billions of dollars at his disposal, and he's going to win the 1983 case, which is going to be $1 billion for his company. He's going to win that case.
I mean, it's the citizens and residents of Florida are the ones suffering on
I think that a guy like DeSantis that gets his state into a quagmire like this has not got what it takes to be president of the United States, and I will not be supporting him.
All right.
Not that I was going to anyway, but I will not. Like, I can't support a guy like that. Even if he becomes president, I cannot support him because he's an idiot.
Well, like we said,
he is, man. I'm not going to fight with Horseshoe Casino because that casino is super important to the city I'm in charge of. You don't realize how important Disney is to Florida, you idiot, and you're the governor. You're going to go to war with your biggest your biggest entity in your state.
Yeah, what do you want him to do? Leave the state?
Yeah, you want him to leave? If they left, is that good for Florida? Maybe you feel better, Governor, but that's devastating for Florida.
Did
for
you
Orlando.
see Haley? So, Trump, of course, is attacking him already. But
Meatball.
I just saw recently Haley was like, she made a remark, hey, Disney, why don't you come to North Carolina?
Whoa.
South
Carolina.
South Carolina.
Yeah.
I agree.
So I was like, whoa, Haley's, getting
like to
out
see
the
that
gloves.
fight.
I'm telling you guys,
Taking the gloves off.
season 9, episode 4, I'm saying it, man. She's got a path to the presidency.
Whoa.
It's a legit path
We'll
to the
see how.
presidency.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a path.
Definitely.
I agree.
I
with
think
you.
her path is way clearer than DeSantis is.
I agree with you. Yeah. Well, please don't forget it's election day. Polls are open until 6 p.m. Go to indianavoters.com to find out your polling place. Please vote. Whatever way you're voting, just vote. It's important. We don't want low turnout like we usually get in a municipal. Why don't you close us out, Mr. Locomotive?
I texted all of the fans. Said, love you guys. Thanks for listening.
It's nice.
Yeah, I never get to participate
Look
like
at
you
you.
two do. But,
All the fans.
Close us out.
all the fans.
On chat.
All
What do you have,
our
like a
live
thread?
our live audience? No.
Oh, in the chat.
Yeah, our live audience.
Oh, there
look
it
at
is.
this.
Yeah.
Love you, BC. It's thanks for kissing me.
I did that without my glasses.
Tom, what were you trying to say?
Love you.
Love you guys. I was trying to say thanks for listening.
It's close.
I did that without glasses.
See how we started the show about the auction, making fun of Tom? We ended the show with his text.
I did that without my glasses, but the thought was, love you guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening. John, thanks for putting on the show.
That is awesome.
Kevin Smith, great doing another show with
Yes,
you.
sir.
That's season 9, episode 4. We'll be back on Friday. We have a guest on Friday? I don't remember.
Working on it.
Okay. We're working on our guest on Friday. We'll be back 7:30. Love you guys. Thanks for listening to Lockpod. Don't forget to vote. Vote today, everybody. Lockpod is out. Thanks, everybody.